and welcome to CancerBuddy Conversations. And tonight I'm excited to welcome Michael and Ashlee Kramer. And let me see if they're pros at this, so they should be on. So let me let them in. And Michael. Okay, they should be coming on any second.
Hello.
Hi, there they are. My two favorite people.
Good to
Oh,
see you.
Good to see you.
my two favorite people.
Yeah.
I have kids, other kids. So wait.
And there's Kitty. What's your cat's name, Michael?
His name is Cash.
Cash. Okay.
Yeah,
Cute.
he wants to be on the live. He's always with me.
Up, and you
And
have one too. Yeah. Well, we love animals, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
We are Cancer Buddy Wally, big fans here for cats and dogs and all animals.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'll do a little brief introduction for those who don't know me. I'm Christina Merrill, and I'm the founder of the Bone Marrow and Cancer Foundation and of CancerBuddy app. And Michael is a cancer survivor, a social media influencer, an author, podcaster, and motivational speaker. And he is still in treatment, unfortunately, for some different ongoing from treatment complications. And he can talk a little bit about that. And he had a bone marrow transplant. And he uses all of his challenges to inspire others, which you certainly do, Michael. And Ashlee is better known as Mom,
yeah,
right? and and you are an early childhood educator turned full-time caregiver, first with your husband, who unfortunately passed away from cancer, and then for your son Michael. And you're an author and a happiness coach, which comes clearly out all the time, and podcaster, motivational speaker, and using your adversities to lift up others. So, welcome to our Cancer Buddy Conversation live, Instagram live. So, I'm excited to just kind of have a conversation and hear from the both of you of how you have been facing these challenges and how you get through the harder times and what lifts you guys up as well.
talking to you definitely. Look at this bright, beautiful sunshine of a woman.
I'm wearing yellow. I don't know if you see a pale yellow, but a yellow for Cancer
Well, I
Buddy.
forgot to wear yellow, but yeah,
Yeah.
we have been through a lot, my mom and I. I went through cancer, I had the bone marrow transplant, and now living with chronic GVHD. It's been a struggle. It still is a struggle. It's something I've just learned to live with, living with graft versus host disease. And I think our best way of, dealing with all this stuff has been like connection. It's kind of what CancerBuddy is about, which is connecting with others and talking to other people who have been through cancer and having friends and people in the community who understand what it's like. And, we love to stay active. We love to post on social media. We love to help people. And it's really just been our whole mantra. Like my mom always says, is like just help as many people as you can. And you're going to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that
I
has.
agree with that. Yeah, I mean you have to just keep positive and helping others, which will definitely help yourself get through hard times. Right?
Hmm.
They keeps you more positive.
I think because it is hard. Sometimes people say stay positive, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that's not going to cure my cancer by being positive,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really hard, but I think that the key for us has been like when you connect with other people, when you help other people, when you talk with other people, it does help you be positive because then you see you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because our theme, Michael and You have on your yellow and I have on my love shirt. So you know, love, and I think that's where we connect with you, Christina, as well, because your whole thing is, you know, connecting people. And I think, and, you know, I don't, not to be goofy or like, but it does come down to love and what we all need. And I think it's helped us a lot on this journey. And you are a giver, you know, you're a social worker. You don't have to be in this environment. We love that about you. For us, it was kind of handed to us without a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Choice has been how we react to what we're going through. And, you know, Michael, he's my kid, but yeah, he is very inspiring. And I think he has embraced it with his heart, with his love. And that's why we love CancerBuddy. I'm not trying to be goofy or sell CancerBuddy, but that literally, you know, that's why we love it, because it is about connection.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Yeah.
feel that when you're, I feel like I have, it's been a gift to me to be in this position of meeting so many incredible people that have faced such adversity, and I can't tell you. I mean, it's a blessing to me to be able to know you both, and I seriously, it really just um, puts everything in life kind of into perspective, and but also it feeds our soul, you know, like it just really does to know wonderful people like you. So
No, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, and also getting through tough times, and you got to have your buddies, and I'm just gonna show you my buddy right
Hmm.
here. Look at him.
We have to get him a Cancer Buddies bandana.
Yeah, we could try. I don't know how long he'd wear that thing.
Yeah.
He's very, very sassy.
Yeah.
I see Emily was saying, Michael, your cat. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
cute.
literally the same happened over here with the other cat. So
Hmm.
one cat's with me.
So sweet. So tell me a little bit about just kind of when your life was flipped upside down and you were forced into you know, surviving in survival mode of getting diagnosed and going through treatment and being in the hospital and the two of you, and how that impacted your family also, because you have brothers and sisters, right? You have a brother and sister.
Hmm. Yes, correct. I have an older brother, younger
Yeah.
sister. Yeah, it was.
Middle child, go figure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
middle child. We're the
Oh,
crazy ones. I get it.
yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. But at first, when it happened, it was like I had the mindset that I just had to get through
Mhm.
it, and it wasn't like it just happened to me, and I had to do whatever I could to survive. 4 years before this, I lost my father to cancer. So when I was diagnosed, I kind of had this idea in my head that like it was like schoolwork to get through cancer. I looked at it like it was like some college assignment, and I just had to get through the chemo, get through the bone marrow transplant, and then I would graduate back to the real world. And that never happened because now we're in a different world. But I guess this is the real world now that we live in. But it was crazy being thrown into all this because everything was so quick. Like it was diagnosis, chemo. Once I finished chemo and I was in a deep enough remission, we had to do the bone marrow transplant. And I literally had like a 1 week break from chemo before my BMT. Like that was all there was like a 1 week break, and then it was BMT, admitted for 6 weeks, there for there for 6 weeks, a month and a half basically. Very sick, radiation, chemo, bone marrow transplant. Then it was graft versus host disease became a thing like right away. And then we were spending time in the hospital like 3 to 4, maybe 5 times a week. We go to the hospital for infusions on steroids, and then finally admitted to the hospital in summer. And then we're basically there till next summer, just in and out of the hospital until 2022 of April was when we finally came home, and haven't been admitted for graft versus host disease complications or cancer since then. But there's
Mhm.
still always stuff going on with GVHD. Is like it's a chronic long-term illness. There's
Mhm.
different organs that are affected. My knees and joints have been affected. I'm in physical therapy. So it's like a lifelong thing, surviving cancer and dealing with the long-term effects. And it hasn't been an easy road, but we found ways to make it an easier road in a way. Like we found ways to look at it differently, and instead of looking at it like it was like this horrible thing, like we made life livable with GVHC. We made a bond together, my mom and I. We started doing things to help others. We became part of a community, and being part of CancerBuddy just gave us like a purpose as well, you know. We loved the idea of CancerBuddy, and we actually wanted to start an app like CancerBuddy before we found out about CancerBuddy. And then we found out about it, and we got connected with you, Christina, and everyone at CancerBuddy, and it was just a great connection. And we've been working with you ever since.
Yeah. Well, it's been amazing that I met you through Cancer Buddy, and you have started a whole community and an ambassadorship of all these people that are now have joined our family, our Cancer Buddy family, to
Hmm.
help us share the app and get it out there so that people know that there's a community that's being built and growing and so forth. But maybe to go back a little bit about your graft versus host, because maybe some people on this
Right.
uh, they don't know what that kind of long-term effect is. If you want to just
Yeah,
share
sure.
what that is.
Yeah, so graft versus host disease is a complication after a bone marrow or stem cell transplant. When you get it from a donor, basically there's always like a chance of rejection because you're getting stem cells that aren't from your body. It's from someone else's body. And even if you're like a perfect match, it still is possible to get things like graft versus host disease, which is basically the donor stem cells being like, okay, this body that I was just infused into isn't my body. It's going to recognize things as foreign and start to attack them, which is good in a way because sometimes what it does is, well, the goal of what it does is to eliminate the remaining cancer cells,
Mm-hmm.
but also it can be very detrimental because it can just start fighting all of your organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like my liver has been affected, my mouth, my skin, my stomach. So it just affects multiple organs throughout the whole body, but it is something that you can live with long term if it's not too severe. And cancer is one of those things, especially like an aggressive cancer like the one I had, you can't really live with it for too long. So it's like a trade off, we always say, kind of like a deal with the devil when you get a bone marrow
I
transplant.
steals my words all the time.
I know. Well, I know. She's my mom, whatever. I can steal words from her.
Yes.
I give them to you.
Yeah.
I
A free license to do so.
Yeah.
definitely. When our kids repeat
It,
after us,
it's such a compliment, Ashley, right? That he's sharing your wisdom and thoughts.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what Michael's saying about graft versus host, we really thought he had a 10 out of 10 match. And so he,
Was that your brother? No, it was
no,
unrelated. It
yeah,
was unrelated.
unrelated, which
Yeah.
is, which makes it more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
His brother was a 50, a haplo, a half match, and his sister wasn't like, she was like 25%.
Mm-hmm.
So we went with an anonymous donor, which was a beautiful gift, but we had no idea what we were in for. We really did what Michael said, we were like, get through the chemo, graduate from college. I love that analogy that you said, do the classes, get through it, graduate from the college, which was the BMT, get to day 100 and go back to life. That's really, and that has definitely not been the case. It's been much, and Michael did gloss over it a little bit, but his GVHD has almost taken his life multiple times.
Yeah.
Now he's doing amazing, stable, and as all cancer patients, survivors know, we're like day to day, and today we're alive. A beautiful day, but I don't think we quite expected this. But what's been cool is when Michael did start to get, like, we knew it was going to be a long haul. At that point, like, okay, we're not getting back to our lives, right? Not now, maybe never. And that has become a theme. We're not going to bounce back. So now we got to bounce forward.
That's forward.
Forward, we landed, well, let's do a podcast. Let's share this story a little bit, because we were doing Instagram and TikTok, and we're like, 30 seconds, 50 seconds. But if we do a podcast, we can share. And we really thought, well, this will just be for our small community, just a few people at the hospital. And it ended up touching a lot of people. So we're up to episode like 52 now.
Amazing.
And, and the podcast became not just, it became a website. And then it became, we were asked to speak at an event, and we're like, wow, this is beautiful. So advocating, I don't think we like made the choice, okay, let's take this cancer and go, become advocates and motivational speakers. It happened little by little, but I think it was both Michael and I just felt so compelled that everything we were going through, why not? We should share it. We should make it purpose. We always say as well, like, there is no why. Like, we don't know why Michael. Why Michael? Why not me? Why not his siblings?
Mhm.
Why not? Like, we don't know why. He was healthy. He checked the boxes for a good diet. People that say sugar, a little, but he wasn't like, healthy guy, shape, an athlete. And it happened to him. So if there's no why, we don't know the reason why, we can at least take it and make some kind of purpose. And our purpose really became helping people. Help people. You have to connect. And
Mhm.
really also just, came to terms with that this isn't just our private story. I know I'm talking a lot. I want to say one quick thing. When I did this with my husband, I did keep it a private story. I
Mhm.
shared it. It was like he got sick. A few of my close friends knew. My family, of course, knew. But I didn't tell people. I was teaching. I was working. I didn't tell anyone.
Mhm.
And I went through it very much alone. And
Wow.
I don't have regrets, but I think that I learned that going through it alone,
It's too difficult.
it's really hard. And then I didn't think he was going to die. I really didn't think he was going to die. And when it came to 2 weeks before and he was in hospice, I was like, oh my God. And I am alone with 3 children.
Mm.
With Michael, right away, not right away, but pretty close, we started kind of sharing on Instagram once he was diagnosed and we knew what we were dealing with, we started sharing. And it made all the difference.
Mhm.
Again, I don't want to have regrets. I'd rather take everything I went through with my husband. It's not a regret. It's more like we learned.
Mhm.
Like
Well,
my,
so it's a learning process, and I think some people cope by not sharing and keeping it very private, to themselves and to their closest family members and friends, and then others can do so much healing by sharing it and turning this very difficult time into positivity, and that's what the two of you have so beautifully done, is taking such difficult moments and turning it into positivity so that you're helping people grow through their problems as well, be it cancer or maybe something else, right? It could be anything that they're
Totally.
challenged with. So that I just find remarkable. And not everybody can do that, but you guys have done it incredibly well. And really, it just um, radiates from both of you. So that's I don't know how deep you had to dig to kind of get to that spot, but because I'm sure it didn't happen instantly at first. So people out there that are struggling with having a diagnosis of cancer and trying to turn this into something positive or feeling positive about life at all, it can you speak about that? Did it take you some time to kind of switch that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, when I was first diagnosed, to me, it wasn't about, sharing my story or helping people or any of that. It was kind of just about getting through chemo and surviving. And then once I was in remission, had the bone marrow transplant, and ended up with GVHD, my brother and my brother made a video of us in the hospital working out.
I took a video of
Oh
you in the,
my God.
but your brother did it.
Yeah, my brother made the video. So
Okay.
we made the video, and it started like inspiring people, and we kind of got the idea to start sharing on social media a little more. And I think it just was like helpful to me too, because it gave me a purpose to share my story with other people. because when I was going through it, all I was doing was going to the hospital and just kind of just like suffering for a long time. It was just really hard. And to figure out that I had a purpose and that what I was doing, that posting videos, it started off on TikTok, was like inspiring people and giving them different perspectives and stuff. It really became therapeutic to share the story, and it gave me a mindset that like I wasn't going through this for nothing, and that I was learning a lot about life myself, and I was also able to teach people those lessons. So it became something that was worth going
Mm-hmm.
through.
And so, you know, because I don't see actually when I see your posts on Instagram, and I don't see you don't bring your brother or your sister into it too often, right? You have a little bit, or are they
Yeah,
part of this whole process
yeah,
with you
they
guys?
have been, but I just don't have many videos with them during chemo or
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Well, we have stuff. So it was one part of that. Michael was diagnosed in July of 2020.
Hmm.
And 2020, we all remember that was the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And in a hospital at that time, I was so grateful. Michael was 19, but that he was in a pediatric hospital, because in a pediatric hospital, they would allow me to be with him. If he had been in an adult hospital, he would have been by himself because of COVID. At that
Right.
time, anyone admitted to a hospital by yourself. That's you're an adult. The pediatric, you could have a parent, and actually you could have a mom and a dad. Because I didn't have my husband, they allowed my son Steven to come.
Mm-hmm.
So Steven would come all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter Jennifer was 16. They would not let her come. So she could not visit us. We did a lot of FaceTimes. I love FaceTime. We talked many times a day, but that was hard, especially during the BMT, those 6 weeks. We snuck her in a couple of times behind closed doors. A couple of nurses snuck her in a few times. But they have been a huge part of this journey. But it's true, my daughter's also a dancer. She's in Vancouver as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Older son he lives in St. Petersburg. So I think, one of the reasons is that we don't live all together. Even though my daughter comes home, Stephen comes home, they both come home, but they're not with us all the
Mm-hmm.
time. But at first, those first 2 years, we were together a lot.
Yeah, we were.
We
It,
were together a lot. And like Stephen, the older son, he stepped in because there was no dad. And he stepped in. So Michael was 19. Stephen actually turned 21 the day before Michael was BMT. He was a sister. He helped me so much. The family unit, I always say that we're close. We were always close. But when my husband, like, we were like close. And then my husband died, and we were like closer. And then Michael got diagnosed, and we were like, so, so like, so that bond. But they're not all the videos. That's not because they're not part of it. It's a different part. And the other thing is, as a caregiver, I know a lot of caregivers understand this that have multiple children. They also have, I've encouraged them to have their own beautiful lives.
Yes.
There was a point when Stephen, he was doing college online, and school opened, and actually in person, and stayed another 6 months at home. But then I was like, no, we're okay now. Go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Go have that experience. And my daughter Jennifer was a dancer, and her choice was to go to Vancouver. And I was like, you're not here. You have to live your dream. And it's hard to have a child going through cancer,
Yeah.
and I all I could you I think that people will understand this is that we talk about balance, and I
Mm-hmm.
think instead of balance, I heard say this, I'm going to steal it. There's harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Michael needed more time. But the harmony is that we still work together, and maybe it was an equal amount of time with all three of my children, but I think it was equal energy.
I mean, the reason I ask you about this because so many parents struggle
Yeah.
when they have other children and how they can balance it, and not have this motherly guilt that they're not with their other children, and also be able to provide all that the child who's sick needs from them. And so I find it's such a balance, but I just want to kind of briefly talk with you about that because I know that so many other caregivers who are parents struggle with that.
But I really do think some give and take, like, just like we talk about balance with already, even before take cancer out of it. I think often parents battle with like career and children, career
Yes.
and finding a balance. Sometimes it's give and take. Some days this one has to get a little more, and some days this a little bit more.
Mhm.
My kids spend something like that. But if I'm going to spend time with my daughter, maybe the amount of time that I've spent with Michael is more. But I think the quality of time I try to spend with my other two, we try to together really count. I think
Mhm.
also another lesson is that you realize that you don't know the quantity, but you can work on the quality. And I think that is something, and I think there's going to be faced with guilt, and there's no right answers, but sometimes one has to take a little bit of priority, but make time for all your kids, but it might not be equal time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
Imagine.
you can just say I'm the favorite mom.
I would not favor. He's my favorite middle kid,
Yeah.
but you know, but we're certainly close. We've spent so much time together, and that's a beautiful thing. But I'm so close to my daughter, and I'm so close to my son as well. So I think I just caregivers, you cannot do every single thing, and you have to give yourself grace. That's always my advice, is give yourself grace. And then I know that caregivers have guilt sometimes for taking a moment for themselves as well. Give yourself
And do you, as a caregiver and as a mom, do you sometimes ever have to argue with Michael to motivate him and keep positive, or
no,
is it?
like that. I don't know. He's not like an. I don't. I'm really lucky. None of my three kids are arguers.
Mhm.
He's had times. I mean, he's the first to say it that it was low, that it was hard. He's not every single day been like, "Yay, wahoo!
Yeah.
I'm a cancer motivator." There have been days that have been low, low, and I can only do so much. I give him my love, and
Mhm.
sometimes I think he knows, and I can't be like, "Oh, Michael, just be
Yeah.
positive." That that would have made us fight. But I think that sometimes I would just try to lead by example, and if I knew he was down, I would be meditating, and I would be still doing my yoga, and still the things that would hopefully, by
Mhm.
seeing peace, that would hopefully help
Wow.
him. Because I think sometimes we want to tell kids, do this, do that. But I think sometimes the best way is lead by example. He does.
That's great advice for other moms because you can't fix it, but you can just lead by example and just hope that that will give that energy to the other person to realize it's okay to feel down and feel the way you're feeling and kind of embrace that, but also just kind of work through it together.
And it's justified. If
Yeah.
you were up, I think that would also be worrisome, going through
Mhm.
life, life and death.
Yeah.
If it didn't, I I think I would worry.
And how have you learned what have you learned about yourself through this? Like that you're more patient than you ever thought, or like what is some of the qualities that you've kind of thought, wow, I can't believe that I have, maybe that piece of me that I didn't realize.
Michael,
Me or both of us?
Well, both of you, what you've learned about yourself to kind of get through this process that you're really proud of and that you thought, wow.
Yeah, I never thought like growing up I was more scared of things. Like I was always very scared of, getting hurt or, being out in waves that were too big, or being in like, because we used to be on the water all the time, and growing up I was one of the last kids to actually like join the windsurfing team because I was so nervous about being like alone on a board in a sail in the middle of the water in the bay or the ocean, wherever it was. So I always had like these little fears growing up, and I was always afraid of these things. And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, I realized that I had no choice. I couldn't be afraid of cancer. I couldn't be afraid of radiation or chemo. I had to just do it. And I was thrown into this world, and I just had to do it. And I realized that, you can, like, you have fears, and I had all these fears, but you can confront your fears. You can get through so much, and you're so much more capable of doing things than you think.
Mhm.
And I think that was one thing that I really learned, and now I feel so much more confident in myself as a human. Before cancer, sometimes I would find myself being like socially awkward as well in certain situations, and now I just talk to people and say whatever, and I'm just like more myself because I've been through so much that I don't have the same fears I used to have.
Mhm. That makes sense. You've and also you've probably matured so much faster than you would have
Right.
ever matured normally, just because you have to be an adult about a lot of things and be responsible for your own health and treatment and medicine.
Matured or aged? He's aged like 100 years since cancer.
Mhm. And mature,
And
I'm
I'm
sure.
joking. Of course he's matured. Of course. I'm just gonna say though, Michael, it's so interesting you say that. I agree about the fears. Like you were fearful. You were fearful in the beginning. You were on the sailing team and you wanted to do it. And I'd be like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, no, I want to do it, but you were scared. But you wanted to do it. But you did do it.
Hmm.
But it's so socially awkward. You were like the funniest, cutest kid ever. I don't know what you're talking about. This socially awkward. Everyone loved you even before
Well, I
cancer. So
didn't have the same. Okay, I
I'm
didn't have
gonna
the
I'm gonna
same
say
confidence I have
no.
now with myself. I'm more confident with
Okay.
myself and who, because back then I was also very funny and social back then, but
Yeah.
now I'm more confident in my abilities and who I am.
Hmm.
Okay, that's true. I will go with
Yeah.
that. And the fears. Oh my gosh, this is a kid that I remember when he was younger, like even a year before he got cancer, like giving him a swab, like, oh my God, maybe he has strep throat. So we would have to get like a swab or whatever. He would
Do
be the
it.
kid that would like kick and
Oh my God.
scream.
Couldn't
And
do it.
thank God. And then COVID was when he was diagnosed. So this kid had more COVID tests than I think anyone on the planet. They would joke in the infusion unit at the cancer at
I got
Nicholas
tested so much for
because
COVID.
he was always admitted.
Yeah.
And so every time they would test him, he had more COVID tests than anyone they'd ever seen. So he had to get used to like this big old swab. And that was the time when they would go like
Really
way up
deep.
to, oh yeah. And you got used to it so fast. And that's true. So I was just going to say that about you. But you have matured and you have grown so much. It is remarkable. I mean, we all hope that we're evolving, but you have grown so much. But you are always a cool kid. I am going to say you're always cool.
Well, I
And
think
how have you grown, Ashley? Like what's different about you? Can you reflect on kind of what this has done to you as a mom or also as an individual, as a woman?
I think a million
Mhm.
things. I think it's true that, people will say you're so strong. And I'm like, I'm not strong. I just did what I had to do. But I think there is a certain
she's getting a call.
I just got rid of it, but I'm getting a call. Sorry about that. Um, I think there is a certain thing that happens. You dig deep and you don't know that you had it. I
Mhm.
mean, when your child is diagnosed with cancer, it's like, I mean, it was so hard with my husband, but when it's your kid, you will do anything. You know how they say, like, the superpower, like your kid, there's a car on top of the
Yeah.
kid, and how all of a sudden you get this superpower.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of true. I mean, I think about how little I slept,
Mhm.
how, I don't know, like, I don't know how I did so many things. And even today, sometimes I'm like, we've done a million things today already. We've been to the hospital, we've done this, we've done that, and we just do what we have to do. So I think there is a strength that we don't know we have. And I think also, like, I've always believed in a lot of the spiritual things, choose love, peace. But when it comes down to it, this has really taught me that you can make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're in the midst of hell, not just make the choice like, oh my gosh, I'm in traffic. Okay, let me breathe. This is like, okay, oh my gosh, my kid is close to death, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to choose
Mm-hmm.
love. I think that has been a big lesson to me that we, we do have a choice. And I think we really, sometimes we don't know we do have a choice. And even in the dark times, we do have a choice how we react.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I actually had lunch today with a mom who lost her three, four. I guess maybe she was 3 or 4 years of age when she died, and but she has raised all this money for research in leukemia, for pediatrics, and it's just amazing for me to see the two of you, to see her, to see these people that have faced such difficult times and turn it into a positive. And and some people might think, God, how can that person do that? But it benefits you. It doesn't benefit you to be so negative and in trauma all the time. So you have to get out of that. And you guys have done that, which is amazing, to inspire others through your social media content that you're posting and sharing, you know, difficult times when Michael was getting his knee replacement and some challenges with that, or whatever it may be along the way. So it's,
Yeah, it's about adapting to your situation, and we always talk about that. And it's life is always about adapting, whether you have cancer or a chronic illness, or you're just a healthy, normal, not normal, just a healthy person with no health issues. You're always going to be going through something. Life in itself, like there's just a lot of suffering in life in general for
Mhm.
anyone. So it's about adapting and finding ways to keep going and finding things that are going to keep you going.
There's a lot of suffering, but there's a lot of joy,
Mhm.
a lot of beauty. And I think we have to remember that too. There is a lot of suffering, but then, there's that sunset out
And there's
there.
even beauty, which some people don't realize, but from going through this sort of experience, the beauty that you both have found with, within yourselves, but also within this community, within all these other people that now look to you and that you support. Because you both have groups that you um, host, caregiving group, and you have a group, survivor group or patient group. So can you just maybe just briefly tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I lead a support group also on CancerBuddy as well. The AYA support group is on there, which is awesome. And then I also lead a support group on this app Discord. I was doing it on this different app before, but they started charging people, so I changed it to Discord. My mom and I both do our support groups on Discord, and I've had probably like 100 people come in and out of the group, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really great because it's one thing to post a video on social media and get like 1,000 comments, and then it's one thing to be in a support group and talk one on one or one to two with just a few people who had been through cancer and so well. Because at the end of the day, it's just about helping, one person, and that's why we do what we do. And if we can help one person, if CancerBuddy can help one person, then it's a success in my point of view, because that's one more person on this world that's gonna, not feel alone and not have to go through something feeling so isolated and like they're the only one that's going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Hmm.
I know you're helping a lot of other caregivers, Ashlee.
Yeah. I sometimes the best way, again, to help yourself is to help someone else. There was not a lot of caregiver support, and just like Michael started a group on a different app, ended up they started charging, so we both moved to Discord, so we both lead a support group. During this, the person that called was actually someone from my support group. I've gotten like 3 texts while we've been on here, and it's important. We need support. I love on CancerBuddy. There's also a chat there for caregivers.
And we're developing a live, so that will be
Yeah.
done. I hope by the first of the year, it will be ready to go, so we can do a live groups on there, weekly groups.
We would
That'll be
love,
awesome.
it's
I'm
true.
very excited for that.
Yeah, and it's going to be
Yeah.
great for that support, which is so important. And well, anyway, I know that we're getting close to the end of our conversation, but it's just wonderful to see the two of you and to just share your message of being, getting through difficult times and turning adversity into positive and sharing your story and not, not keeping all of that to yourselves, because it helps so many other people when you share.
Thank you for everything you are doing, Christina, because we have been with you now.
How long have we known each other? Over a year.
2 years.
A year and a half? 2 years?
It's been more than 2 years because it was September of 2022. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's
That we met.
Yeah, so it's been over 2 years.
And we are watching this app grow. We are watching you evolve. We are seeing more people come on it. And not just that, but you as a human, I love you.
Oh.
You have just embraced this community, and we're very grateful for you.
Yeah, we're very grateful for you, Christina, and CancerBuddy's amazing, and we're happy to be a part of this community.
I brag to my children, to my 4 sons all the time about Michael, what a remarkable young man he is.
Thank you.
And so I will look forward to the day that they actually get to meet Michael in person.
That'll be awesome.
So that will be great. And no, but you guys have become part of my family, and I adore both of you. So I'm grateful to have you both involved with the organization. And yeah, my son is on here watching. He said, "It's true."
Awesome.
I'm always bragging about Michael, about the adversity he goes through, and my kids need a little bit more of Michael in them. So they're
they have.
I'm sure they're amazing.
They get good perspective in life.
Yeah. So, anyways, we can all learn from each other. So I'm always using you as an example, Michael.
Thank you.
But yes, you're a role model for many young men out there. And so anyways, and Ashlee, you're a role model for many mothers and people, with just having strength and showing their love and compassion and happiness. So you can definitely have choices, and you guys have made that choice, which is incredible. But yeah, so it's been a joy to get to know the two of you, and thank you for all your support for CancerBuddy and for this community. And I look forward to doing lots of great, important work together. So I know we have lots to do.
Yes, we do.
So thank you so much. We do. We love you. Yeah.
And I will be speaking to you, I'm sure, this week. Actually, we have our ambassador meeting on Friday, so we'll be all together, all of our other ambassadors.
We love it.
Okay, well, have a good rest of your evening, and thank you both, and I'll see you soon.
Yes.
We love you. We love you. We're coming to New York.
I know. We have to plan that too.
I know we do. We really have to come to New York.
Our New York City outing.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll start talking about that too.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Thank you both.
Of course.
Lots of love.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone. Bye.